My mic's on. Your mic's on. We are live.
Hello. All right. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to the 13th episode of The Untamed Four. I'm the Untamed Scribe, and as always with me is the Wandering Alchemist.
Greetings.
Creepy.
You're welcome.
In this episode, we're going to do our best to figure out how to organize all of our previous forges into one volume for all to enjoy.
Yes.
You're welcome.
We're gonna start doing that anyways.
Yeah. This is like the planning phase, but also we're going to go through some of the things that we've previously done and hopefully get people excited about those items, which you can find, and we will tell you how to do that later. So yeah, do you want to just start with number 1?
I think we should go through them.
Okay.
And list what's oh yeah, I forgot your neighbors flush all the time.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Good stuff right there. All right,
I think we should go through each one, and we should start by listing the broad categories that we could group them into. So obviously they're items or NPCs and stuff, but in terms of how we might actually end up organizing them in a book. So NPCs might qualify as stat blocks alongside monsters. Those might go together even though they're technically different. You know what I mean?
Okay. So do you want me to say that on this?
No, I think you could just maybe do a number. You just do the number bullets, if you will.
Okay.
And then we'll write what it is, and then what broad categorical terms we can attribute to them. And then once we go through them all, we can start to look at how we would organize these all into a book.
Okay, so do you want to just start with the first forge we did?
Yes. So that is the glitter gloom.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was the glitter gloom.
This guy right here.
Was it 2 or 1 word?
It is 1 long word.
Okay, I thought so. Okay. Okay. What specifically do you want to go through about it?
Okay, so the glitter gloom is a location.
Indeed.
But it also has the moon bears. And if we're going to be expanding these things for the collected volumes, the moon bears might be something that we could either I was gonna say either add as a player race, but probably not a player race. Probably just an NPC monster set of stat blocks would definitely be possible.
Okay.
So some of these we might have pieces of in different sections of the book. So
yeah, anything that has that though that needs a stat block, I'm gonna just change it to a let's just do red for now.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Color code it however you would like.
All right, so okay.
Perfect. What else do we have?
So actually, and I'm gonna whole mess and just say stat blocks.
Okay.
Didn't we come up with a few other monsters though? I thought.
Looking, yeah. I mean, there's a few other suggestions of monsters that you could find in there, like Fae and skeletal salamander people. But I don't think we came up with anything specific other than the moon bears.
Okay, so do we not want to add those then?
Or? I mean, we can. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I thought that. Hold on. Yeah, because I apologize because I don't actually have the PDFs that we created, but I have our notes, and I know that like one of the things that we were talking about for the moon bears was giant fey rabbits.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, we should definitely put stats for those.
okay, so I'm just gonna write it like that.
Giant fey rabbits.
Yeah. You know.
Rabbit cows.
Yeah. And I'm going to actually really quick do. What was it again? Cows, you said, or something?
I said rabbit cows.
Sure.
That's how I was thinking about them, anyways. Because they're like livestock, you know.
Yeah. Let's just do rabbit cows.
Nice.
Wasn't there something else I thought there was something like in the water or something that we created? I thought.
The dun dun dun.
We had haunted ruins. Dwarves.
Yeah.
We had dwarves in those.
Dwarves and ghosts and skeletons.
So I'm gonna just do dwarves, ghosts, skeletons, all with a question mark, kind of.
Yep.
Was there something else? Anything else?
I don't think so. I mean, there was like the like all.
We had sprites listed too.
Yeah, and there's all like the information about like how you get into it and like the traveling and like when the gateway is open to get down there and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But none of that's really stat blocks. That's all.
Yeah.
Location info.
Yeah, information pieces. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. For this, just thinking about this because we do have other locations. Obviously, we have other like monsters and things like that we've actually given like an environment. Obviously, that can change. But do we want to say on this like this is like one of the words we had on this was swamp? Like, do we want to put the volume in like different terrains?
Maybe if we have enough locations, we can. But that might just be like if like one whole section of it is locations, then maybe we can group them by terrain, or type, depending, like, because like one's like a city, so we'll have to figure that how to
note at the top.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna make a note here that this is a swamp.
Okay. Swamp-ish.
Swamp
adjacent.
Yeah. I like that one, but it's swamp adjacent.
But you have to use a hyphen, because if you just write swamp adjacent without the hyphen, then it just seems like it's next to a swamp.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that was cool about this. I remember this. It had like in the real world it was like fake stars and a fake moon, so it was like the trick of crystals on the ceiling.
Yeah, like when you're in the swamp, you're in a cave, but it looks like you're outside. Until you are in the Feywild, and then you really are outside. Boom boom boom. Weird Feywild stuff.
Is I don't know how to word this. I'll just say portal for now. What?
I feel like there's a word for what you were just looking for. It's a nexus.
Yeah, nexus could be good. Portal.
Yeah.
Nexus.
Crossover, crossroads, and there's all kinds.
Yeah, whatever we want to say that. All right.
The second one.
Yeah, there. You know what?
Oh, this was our horrible bug monsters.
Yeah, we're awful people.
This is not our
And what if
fault. It's
so
all the
this one was
patrons'
a
fault.
monster. And what did it end? What did we name these guys again?
The Teryx.
Yeah, how do
Hold
you
on.
spell that again?
I got it. The Tarix Hive. Tarix.
Tarix.
Yes. Oh, look at this PDF is from before I actually changed the color scheme. I don't know. That looks like it's probably readable on screen. This monstrosity. That's just the sub-queen. Let's get the queen on screen. I don't know if I can include the entire
Yeah,
stat
go ahead and
block.
do that because I just thought of something that I'm gonna do to like make this a little easier on us, hopefully later.
Oof. This is a huge stat block. So here's just half of it. Give or take. Yeah, our patrons gave us some words and we went full terrible psychic bugs.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do.
You know, do what you gotta do.
And realistically, the only thing I think we could expand on with this one is that we could give like an example nest in the location, in like with locations in the book, like, you know, like this is where it is, like it's in this forest, and it's like,
okay, yeah,
like this is the size, and like here's where you would encounter workers, or like the boundary of it, or whatever, you know, just like an example,
yeah,
like pre-made setup.
Okay. Let's do. I'm gonna do 1 second. Okay, so let me do. Which color? We'll do.
Blue?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah?
Apparently I spelled. Oh yeah, I totally missed a letter. Whatever.
Expand.
It will be explained. I felt like that guy from Princess Bride trying to marry a couple.
Marriage.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all know what I mean.
Can we discuss how we made these in November of 2017?
I know, right? I wrote the date on it at the top, and I'm like, wow, that's so long ago.
What's happened?
Things. So is that kind of all you want to do with that? Is expand upon? I mean, we have stat blocks.
That's all.
Well in hand on that.
Yeah, that's all I can think of off the top of my head. Like, I mean, we could come up with other, like, more variety in the members of the hive if we wanted to, or something, but
yeah, that's totally possible. We're just spitballing ideas in terms of what we want to do with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing else off the top of my head.
Okay. Oh, dang it. Did that backwards. Sorry. Okay. So then the third one was an item.
It was the what did we call it, thanks to Tristan? The vestments of the questing soul.
Okay. And
Uh,
this, they do need stat blocks, right? Or do we have them already?
uh, they already have. I've already made the item stat blocks for it, and even have it's on screen now.
Okay.
There is the Curse of the Questing Soul, because there's that slight curse that kind of implores you to oh goodness, it's been so long since I've like looked at some of these.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, to like to defeat evil. Like the more you have, the harder it is to like just obsessively be good, like to the point where like it becomes difficult to be able to determine and make the decision on what's helpful and what's not helpful.
Okay.
It like the curse essentially is it has a very black and white line between good and evil, and you have to act against evil. So like it might force you to be like, nope, we can't lie, and like just ruin that
Okay.
plan. But
Something.
I did like the names we ended up with these. It's the spirit of the fanged serpent is the hand wraps. The spirit of the dancing fox is the mask. The spirit of the iron worm with a Y,
Yeah.
is the gi that is
Yep.
the like robe,
Yep.
martial arts robe, and then the spirit of the cunning wilds, which is the necklace of bugs petrified in amber. And the more items a individual monk is wearing, the more powerful any individual item is.
Okay.
I want to make more um like what is the term? Sets of items like
Yeah.
this.
Something I wrote down for those, just because I know that they're cursed. I wrote down maybe we could expand on the curse.
Yes. Yeah, we
Um,
can bring it out of a sidebar and into
yeah.
like its own. It'd probably be right with the items.
Oh yeah, yeah. I picture it, like a standard D&D book. You know how they have those like little side boxes, like something
Yeah,
just that simple.
we might even need to treat these like a sentient item. Like as a group, they're similar to a single sentient item, and like treat the
Okay.
curse similarly to the way sentient items are treated
Okay.
in the current books. Might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
But I agree.
okay.
Um,
It did. I feel like that depends on like how in depth we get, because I know us, and I know that sometimes we get a little carried away.
yes,
Um,
we do.
so maybe that'll change. Who knows?
The other thing that came to my mind that we could think about doing that might be a little, I don't know. We'll see how carried away we get. Um, we could, if not as a class archetype for monk, but as a narrative thing, we should try to develop the monk order that
Okay.
like whatever monk created these items or owned these items originally like became, um because I don't imagine items like these would be so powerful if the monk wasn't, if something else didn't happen to continue that monk's legacy, like
Right.
whether
Yeah.
it's
I
like
feel
an
like.
order dedicated to correcting the overzealous mistakes he made, or whether it's an order dedicated to acting the same way. I feel like there would be a monastic legacy as well.
What was the first one you said? I got the order dedicated to acting the same way, or order what?
Like dedicated to like correcting and like finding that line where you don't go from doing the right thing into obsessively doing the right thing so much that it becomes a bad thing.
Are you on the page with our on the doc? I just don't know what screen you have up right now. Just make sure what I put down is good enough for you to like remember.
Yes, that's
Okay.
perfect.
Okay. Cool. I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand with the curse part of it. If we're expanding upon the curse, like we'll just automatically start coming up with that kind of background origin.
Yeah, because that leaves us so that we could put part like narrative information of the curse in that section, and then like the mechanical information of the curse can be with the items.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that would go with organizations. That's where our organizations and NPCs are going to end up being in two separate parts of the book, because like organizations are very narrative, but the stat blocks associated with those would definitely go alongside monster stat blocks.
Okay, so right now, right, I have monster and NPCs that we need stat blocks for them, not necessarily that they're in the same
right
grouping.
I would say
I'm just gonna.
What color do you want to do for organizations?
Let's see. Hold on. Bum bum ba. Let's do. I'll probably just do like a purple, I guess. Does that work for you?
Sure.
Uh-oh. Well, I did that backwards. Let's not talk about it. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna highlight organizations here since we already have the rest of it, and just make that purple.
Okay.
Just so that it sticks out. Because I obviously already highlighted the vestment's name itself in the red, so.
Right.
Just so that we kind of keep things going. And you know what? I'm just gonna go.
I'm
just gonna do that.
Do you actually want to make the vestments highlighted in a different color because it's an item and not a creature? Like do like green for item stat blocks?
Yeah, we could do that.
Because like armor, wondrous items, potions, all those would be separate, but I guess technically also stat blocks in a way.
Yeah. Let's see. So here, how about this? We'll just do the same thing. Underlined.
Okay.
I was just on a roll about the red needing stat blocks, really.
Right.
That was what just happened. Okay.
Cool.
Alrighty. And then... No, and then. Here, you know what? Let's do this real quick. I'm gonna just put these down here. I'm going to do monsters. Okay, so we have. Let me just do this real quick. Sorry, man. All right, items is gonna be first. Yep. Then we're gonna have. Sure, we'll do a pink. NPCs. I did it again.
I mean, you can keep.
Yeah, I knew it. I probably know what you were about to say, but it's fine. I've come too far.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. I'm just gonna do it. Locations. Just like that. You good? Get what I'm doing?
I see what you're doing.
Was that about what you were gonna say?
No, I was gonna say you could probably keep NPCs grouped with monsters.
Yeah,
Just
but
because.
it'll still be grouped like. Here, you know what? I'm just gonna I'm gonna make this a little less complicated. So locations will be the orange.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah. Monster can just be black. It doesn't really matter. Or no, it does. Oh, okay. Cat. Sorry, my cat is in my grill right now. It's distracting.
I have a cat in my face. I need all these colors.
God. Oh, what's gonna show up on the screen? That'll probably show up. There we go.
Is that a slightly darker red?
Yeah, it's like a burgundy.
A burgundy.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Isn't it? Alright, and then same thing with these. So
See what you were doing.
okay. I'm gonna do one more of these. Like that. So those are the extra things. Okay. Alright, so if it's underlined, it already has a stat block. So I'm going to... We don't need a stat block for the glitter gloom, do we?
No.
Okay, cool. Monster, they need their stat block, but we already know that. And it's... Okay. Actually... Whoa.
Whoa.
I'm gonna do...
Uh-oh.
I'm just gonna do monsters in red. Because so far everything that we've done in red is a monster.
Okay.
And then... Okay. Whatever. I'm just... This is how my brain works. It's just always behind its own self. Okay. So then... Yeah. That works. And the same thing goes for... like NPCs that I underline or whatever, you know what I mean? Like...
Yeah.
So...
Sure.
This will be... And then just... And there's no stat blocks needed for the location, so I won't worry about that. I'm gonna make this a brighter pink. Ah, damn it. I just can't win today. It's okay.
There's no winning.
There's never any winning for me. We know this by now. Let's move on. Okay. Does this make sense so far?
Sure.
Alright, cool. Alright, are we done with the vestments?
I think so.
Alright.
I think that's a good start.
Alrighty, now we have the fourth one, which was a monster, if I am correct. No.
It was
NPC.
not. It was an NPC/organization episode. And this one is kind of a little of everything, honestly.
Yeah, whoa. I can spell, I swear. All right. So this one, what did we name them again?
This is the Milk and Honey Curios, which is a front for an illegal artifact and art antiquity, like black market, essentially.
Okay. All right.
Including our pineapple vendors who act as drones to be points of contact.
Did we have? We had some information about that. I don't think we gave anybody stats, right? We didn't.
No, we said that they were mercanes, which are extra planar like merchants, but this is like a matriarchal group of them who are done with effectively done with the patriarchy of mercane merchants and decided to become their own merchants and smugglers all in one.
Right. So.
Like they are equal parts like historians, arcane merchants, smugglers, archaeologists, and pirates. Like,
So there's definitely some expansion to be had there, I feel.
yeah, I definitely think like we could definitely come up with some monster stats for like just a basic stat block for like this is the stat for the pineapple cart drone in case you get into a fight with him trying to like contact the group. This is the basic stat for any given worker in one of the Milk and Honey Curios.
Okay.
You know, this is the stat block for one of the leaders of it. So yeah, there's definitely some stat blocks in there just in case a fight breaks out or
Okay.
a party decides to go against these folks.
Gotcha.
We did not come up with any items that they would specifically have because I mean it's basically any magic items or mundane antiquities that excuse me that the DM would want to include appropriate to interactions with this group at your table. So that's freeform, but maybe we come up with an item or two that is specific to the individuals in this group. Like if they are planar merchants, then either we can use some of the already made items like in the DM's guide, like a ring or something that helps them in their job, or perhaps we come up with like maybe all the lieutenants have a special like cutlass that really fucks people up or like helps them get out of a bind by like planar transport or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like signature items that the group has.
Okay.
And I think this is another one that might actually really benefit from an example location. Like, here's an instance of the Milk and Honey Curios shop with a named leader and named workers that you could stick in any one of your cities, you know, so that you don't have to come up with names and like a list of items that it has. Like, here's one that you can just drag and drop if you need to.
Okay.
But you don't have to if you don't want to, you know? So, I mean, it'd basically be like a list of the people's the name like a list of names for the ones who work at that individual shop and a list of items that are regularly for sale at that shop. So that, like, if you decided to use it randomly and spontaneously, you would be ready to.
Okay. Okay. Does that look good?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. We thinking about anything else on that front, or for that specific one? Are we okay?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything.
Actually, no, I did kind of think of one.
Lies.
We could actually develop the basic information to allow a group to use this as like a as an organization that you can join, the same way that like you can join the Harpers or the Emerald Enclave. Because I mean, we have determined that they have a structure and a set of rules and things that they might send players out to do. So like we could easily set up a couple names for the ranks and how you would earn favor with them.
Okay. Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. So then the fifth one we did, we got back to... Oh, we ended up doing NPC again.
That's right. I think every time we got through 4, it goes back to back.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And this was Maze and what's his name?
I don't remember, but I remember being badass.
Maze and Milton Mossbottom.
Yes.
And their pet potato.
I think I spelled her name like that, so that's what I'm going with. Maze. And what was it? Milton Mossbottom?
Yes.
The best. With baby potato. Oh, and didn't we? Oh, yeah, no, we named him Tater Tot, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Oh God, how do we do? I'm just gonna do that. Tater Tot.
I think there's a hyphen.
I'm keeping it with and 2 T's.
I think it's a hyphen and 1 T.
I want to keep it at 2 T's
because I think 2 T's makes it tatter.
I want him to be adorable with 2 T's.
He already has enough T's. That's fine. Plenty of T's.
Tater Tot.
We already have stat blocks for Maze and Milton.
Okay.
Tater Tot is literally a small awakened potato. Or I guess it would be a large awakened potato, so there doesn't really need to be a stat block for that creature. That's like mouse or at best rat stat block in terms of stats. So
do you want to underline him that he needs stats? Or...
No, I think giving him stats is just like asking someone to deal him 3 damage and murder him.
Okay, yeah, I think so.
Because he can't do anything but cry and play.
Yeah.
I mean...
That's true.
What could we expand on with these guys?
I mean, we could expand backstory a little bit on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's definitely something we could always
do. More details. You know what else we could do? I don't know where it would go in the finished product, but this is the type of thing that like we could give like an example like encounter with them, like you know, what they would be doing when you met them, and like what kind of quests they might ask you to do. That might come up in conversation, you know? It's like I guess it's a social encounter. Because otherwise they kind of just have their stat blocks and background information.
Right. What did you say? Did you say a quest? What or something?
Yeah, because didn't we talked about them? Because Maze is a druid sorcerer.
Yeah.
And is super into gardening and rare plants, and they travel a lot. So like, it's definitely like a side quest social encounter potential there that we could expand upon outside of their stat blocks.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where we would put that, but
I mean they're travelers, so like you could. You know.
That's the thing. Like it could be inserted anywhere, but like right, I don't know where we would put that little portion in the finished product.
Right.
That'll just be something we have to figure out.
Yeah.
Oh, I see a note here. We also were coming up with ideas of like just when we were spitballing ideas for side quests, maybe has some seeds in exchange for a pine cone of a hangman's tree. So maybe we come up with a couple random items like the pine cone of a hangman's tree that she might have for sale or for trade that do random little magical things that would catch the interest of a druid or other nature focused character.
Yeah, I also have on excuse me. I also have for my notes meet them, and like the halfling, which is Milton, and Tater Tot are spitting and playing Ring Around the Rosie, and she's just standing there with her hands behind her back, like pissed.
yeah, we made her very like straight-laced and like stone-faced in interaction, but like secretly a big softy gardener.
Yeah, they bicker all the time. They're best friends.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you want to say the light green is?
That was, I was trying to match the color for items.
For items, yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you know what though? I kind of like the lighter color better. Was it that one? Yeah. Whatever, I feel like it's a little easier to see.
Beep.
Eep? Is that what you said?
I said beep. I heard a car.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Not a big deal.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Good?
Sounds good.
Alright, cool. The next one we have was location.
Oh yeah, this one. This is the one where I think I cut out 20 minutes of us thinking about names.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
This is the floating mountain peak that's chained to what it was once attached to.
Yeah, with dwarves and shit.
Yeah.
Did we have a name for this?
Yes, we did end up with a name for this. It was called Mirarum.
Oh gosh, how did we spell it?
It was. Ooh. Hello, I want my Mirarum. I think. Let me double check. Mirarhum. Nope.
HUM.
Mirar. Mirar. Yes.
Mirror. I have here that we had a queen for this.
Yes. Let me.
Do we have stat blocks on her?
Let me see what we have, because that's one we did have a PDF for. How far did we get on PDFs?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
The one after this was the last one, so we got 7 PDFs. So we got more than half before we were overwhelmed last year.
Do we need stats on the queen, or we have?
So we don't have any stats. It's all we have is narrative stuff.
Okay.
And we left this one pretty open. For people to use. So like everything we really came up with was like a framework, like how the city kind of works, that it has a queen, that it holds an annual festival, that it's got that rift to the plane of air in there or whatever.
You know what? I'm gonna change this. Sorry,
How dare you?
I'm now that I'm thinking about this, I'm gonna do it like this instead.
Are you underlining what needs stat blocks instead?
Yeah.
Just changing everything.
I know. Hey, that's how brainstorming and that kind of thing goes. Okay. So these guys do. This all does. Terex have it. These guys need it. Vestments have them. Is this something that needed a stat block?
Which one?
The item I'm highlighting, the pine cone.
No, that was just to remind us that we were to make items if we wanted to.
All right, so I'm gonna put her in pink, I guess.
Yeah, if anyone needs a stat block, it should probably be the queen. I think that's the only name we actually used. We also mentioned that one of the things that was trouble getting there, I mean, we named like wild animals, yetis, and giants, but we also mentioned magical molten metal cast off, like elementals.
Mm-hmm.
So like metal ooze elemental might be the best way to put that.
Okay, so metal ooze elemental.
Yeah. Stat blocks for those would be good.
And that's a monster, right?
Yeah, because like that's the kind of thing where like if you want to fill some time or challenge the party and they're trying to get there at the wrong time of year, that they might have to fight a group of those while they're waiting for contact with the city.
Right. Okay.
Because
we want to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Because most of the other things we listed were like things that are already in the monster manual, like yetis, frost giants, that kind of thing.
Right.
I don't know. I think I don't think we should try to do too much in terms of defining the city, because like that's like a never-ending hole.
Yeah.
That we could dig ourselves, but maybe we focus on the thing that makes the city unique, which is the craft festival, and the elemental hurricane as a danger, so that like because if we define those, then this place can still be picked up from the book and placed in anybody's campaign in any mountain range.
Yeah.
But if we define those unique attributes, we don't have to define the city as a whole. We just flavor it with the necessary stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Bless you.
Excuse me. I'm like burp hiccuping tonight.
Yeah, you can hear that.
Can you?
Yeah.
Apologies.
It's okay. These things happen.
If I go silent for like a minute, it's because I'm holding my breath.
Oh, good.
I'd like them to stop. They're kind of annoying for me too.
No, it's fine. Totally fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
So is there anything you think we should add?
For this one, I think what you already said is good, because I don't want to do the whole city thing. Like you said, that's just a black hole, and it's just...
Yeah, we could write a 50-page thing on a city like this.
We could write our own adventure book. So
yeah.
Let's not do that.
Not for this.
Not for this. So, oh, wait. I think I got the spelling of it right here. There we go. That's what I had anyway.
Okay.
Unless it changed on the PDF.
It might have. So let's just make a note at the top here. Finalize name spellings. Because that will have to be a step we take at some point.
Okay. Cool.
Both so that we have one picked out, and so that when the two of us are both going through it over and over again to correct, maybe we even create like a list of proper names to reference when we do our editing passes.
Okay.
Okay. So we're halfway there.
All right. So we had
before we get into number 7. We're halfway there, and it's been just under an hour. I would like to pause for a bathroom and water break.
Okay, sure.
So I am going to go ahead and mute us, folks, and put us on our Be Right Back screen, and we'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Thanks, everyone.
And we're back.
Hey, everybody.
Okay. So we're halfway through, and we have 6 more forges to go through to write some of this stuff down. So number 7
was our space monster.
Our kaiju.
How do you spell that again?
Kaiju is Kaiju.
Okay. Did they have other names though? I thought that we gave them names, no?
Yes. So I actually have this one. We called the Fae one, we called Sungami, the goddess of carrots.
Okay. I was gonna write them all out, and I'm like, you know what? It's fine.
Yeah. Then we had a Tarugan, the Batcoon, in quotes, our undead monstrosity. And then we had the Kurogra, the Nether Croc, which was the 2-headed ghost crocodile thing.
Legit.
So these are basically like they're not full scale Dai Kaiju. They're not like like modern Godzilla-sized kaiju. They're like Tarrasque kaiju.
Yeah.
And even the goddess of carrots was smaller. She's more like a god tier giant in some ways. But they're all very kaiju in the fact that they are unique individual creatures with weird that have weird abilities and weird things happen around them.
No biggie.
I honestly think the only way we could expand this one would be to, one, if we really wanted to, come up with another one or two of them. And two, it's not really expand, but more crystallize the what we are going to use as an in-game lore for what kaiju are in the game, and whether or not the fact that we called these space monsters is relevant, and like what the same way that like all undead, generally speaking, have these features. Like they don't, almost all of them don't need to eat or sleep. They're not technically living. That kind of thing. That like we should define that kind of thing.
Okay, so define.
Because when we made these, we were just like, yeah, okay, 3 space monsters, let's do it. Let's go ham.
Define behavior good for you? Define behavior.
Yeah, behavior and like common stat features.
Okay.
So that like when you're talking about them as a group, like there's what brings them all together. Like obviously they're unique, giant, strange individuals, but what does that mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And maybe what did I already make for these? They all have legendary actions and regional effects. But we could potentially come up with like I'm trying to think of the right word. Like what the point of them is. Because
purpose?
Yeah, because that's a common thing about kaiju. Like Godzilla is like the channeled rage of the world. Like he's become the Earth's protector, but also the Earth being angry at mankind, and he kind of strides that line between like hero and monster. Whereas like Mothra is very much a protector spirit. And King Ghidorah is very much like the Godzilla of another world, bent on destroying ours, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, the instinctual purpose of these creatures. Yeah. Because they're smart in that like top tier animalistic way, but not in the like civilized, necessarily self-aware way, you know?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna actually just put that. Yeah. So you don't want to get into... Oh, no, I think that we would get into more of their background anyway with that instinctual purpose, like what their reason for being is.
Yeah. You don't really need to define like what created them or where they came from. And like we could make that like an ephemeral, like, oh, some scholars think this or whatever. And I put some of that in the PDF we had, but I think we should sit down and talk about that.
Okay.
For the final product.
Yeah, definitely. I can't think of, I mean, like I said, what I was just going to add goes hand in hand with that, so I don't have anything else for them specifically.
Yeah, and when it comes to kaiju, like, what else is there besides them?
Right, yeah.
And we're not going to get it, we're not going to get into, like, making, like, golem mechas for your campaign. That's a whole nother book, too.
No, we're not going to do that.
Not this time.
Oh man, I remember. Sorry, I'm just looking at my next page here. What the next item was. I love this one.
Oh, this one's really fun.
What did
This
we end up calling this? Did we have a name for this one?
oh shoot.
thought
We
we had a
did.
name.
This was the last one. This was the last one I made. Number 8 was the last one I made a PDF for. This was Branthier, the Magical Trunk.
How do you spell
Or
brand?
Branthier is probably a better way to pronounce it. It's BRANTHIR.
Brother, the magical trunk.
Yeah, and like
Oh god.
I opened up the PDF with like one of those like NPC quotes, and it says, "Look at you, kid. You're wonderful, magnificent. Your name will be everywhere, I tell you. Just looking at you, I know there's an entertainer down there. You want to be famous, don't you? Of course you do. We'll do it together, you and me. We're gonna be great." And it's just your new manager, Ascension Chest.
Yes. So we have stats for him as a trunk, right?
Yeah, I forgot I'd done this. I went through and I made stats for him as a sentient trunk with a sidebar for his tendencies to be a little egotistical, selfish, and what's the word? Mischievous.
Yes.
As well as I do have stat blocks for the different things we came up with that would definitely be in there, like the magician's gloves, the top hat, the cape, the wand, a trick rope, and the every substance ball.
Yeah. Oh my god, I loved all of. See, this one was fun. I liked this one a lot. Not that our others weren't. I just really.
No, this one was one of the funner ones. Because it was just so ridiculous.
I think something we could definitely expand upon for this is his story. Like,
yeah, I definitely think he needs yeah, we're gonna have to have a whole talk about how we like put together the book itself, but he definitely needs a story, and I think it needs I wouldn't necessarily consider it a full adventure, but definitely an encounter type. Like, you get tickets to this thing, and like maybe the current user of it that kind of like we had a whole discussion about.
Yeah, we did.
The potential adventures that could be just based on this thing existing without even meeting it.
Yeah, like one of the first things.
Like pulling out the Yeti with rabbit ears that rampages through town.
Yeah, the illusionary assistance to entice the would-be magician.
Yeah, exactly.
So it puts its own name in lights, and then as an intro, and then it changes to the would-be magician's name.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes, so funny. Like, there's gotta be, like, I would want to personally expand upon, like, how did this trunk come into being? You know what I mean? Like, a part of me feels like I think we talked about it being a curse.
Yeah, it needs to be like a folklore legend though, because like I picture it as like maybe it was a Fey Lord at one point that became a trunk, or maybe it was a Fey Lord's trunk that gained sentience, or like, who knows? Like maybe even like write like a little nursery rhyme, like the old school like nursery rhyme that relates to, magical things happening, that is just like the little folklore that kids remember it by, that like little elf children learn.
Oh my gosh.
Like, don't tempt fate, like don't try to be too self-absorbed, or you'll end up like Branthier.
Oh no, whoops. Go back. I can't type anymore, and I can't spell anymore.
It's over.
Oh, it's over, man, my brain. I become like, what is it, Branthier? Okay. Yeah, Yeah, something like that would be really fun to do.
Yeah, I don't know. We actually put a lot into this one. So there's stats for it.
Yeah, we did.
There's stats for all its items. And then I even have stats. Okay. I have stats for the Bard cantrip. The Bard equivalent to like Druidcraft, which we called Stagecraft, of course.
Yes.
Like allows you to do one of the following. Your voice changes in volume, pitch, or undergoes some other effect for 1 minute. You cause a shower of sparks or flashing lights. You create a shadow to grow larger and darker to make it more ominous, or shrink down to make something meek. You create an appropriate sound effect, or you create the sound of clapping and cheering to encourage others to do the same.
Nice. Yes. Oh my god. It was such a fun one. Then we don't need any stats or anything else. It's just more coming up with the...
Yeah, it's more like expanding upon the background.
Yeah.
And then awesome. Maybe an example adventure.
When we do it, it's gonna be fun.
Adventure encounter type deal.
Nice. All right, cool. You cool with that?
I am cool with that. Oh, the one after this was a lot of fun too, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I was about to say, I really enjoyed the next one too. We didn't have names for this yet, did we?
No. So okay. This one didn't end up with a PDF. That is something we'll have to do. This one, number 9. I'm
gonna do this next to this, just so that we remember that it needs a name.
Yeah.
In general.
So number 9 was, I think number 9 I released the audio for, but I'm not sure. I know like we got backed up at one point and like just tried to go and keep moving on these things. But number 9 was our potion, like our alcoholic potions, or our, I guess our magical alcohols.
Yeah, I put it down on our sheet here as wine bottles.
Yeah. So we have a variety.
Actually, we just do alcohol drinks, because I think we changed that, didn't we?
Yeah, we had talked about different ways we could do it. So we have a few examples. We have a few examples of different spell effects that occur as you imbibe.
Yeah.
Like charm person, detect thoughts, tongues, and most of them are like could be used purposefully, but also have potential to just accidentally happen. Like alter self is like, oh, you randomly and accidentally, like your hair turns pink, or you grow 4 inches temporarily and you don't know it's happening. Or like the zone of truth one, where suddenly you're just, alcohol makes you just blurt out the truth anyways, but now it's just, zone of truth. You can't even lie about it.
Yeah.
And we came up with a bunch of different animal related labels, very simple labels, like just a black circle with like a very nice hand drawn either feather or like fireflies. What else do we have? A crab claw, depending on which one it was.
Yeah. Real quick, just so that you know, I put expand on here, and I put that we need to create the ambassador for this.
The ambassador?
Yeah, he's the guy who has like he's
call
in for like peace talks.
Yeah, like someone who knows about these and actually specifically purchases a couple specific ones and utilizes them for that. That's right.
Yes. Also, I think that we should expand upon, and I think at this point it would be potentially a mix of both NPC or organization, but the was it wizards or sorcerers, whoever runs the actual
brewery?
Either
I guess it depends. I guess they would be a combination of distiller, vintner, and brewer, depending on what alcohol it's going into.
I'm just gonna put distillers. We'll know what that means, but
Yeah. Um.
slash I have no better term other than farm, because that way in my mind I know that that note means like their operation. Like I picture them out in the field with like their grapes and stuff, you know what I
Growing
mean?
specific grapes to make them
Yeah,
like.
yeah, dude.
Oh, this variety of grape takes the charm person spell much better
Better, yeah,
than
exactly.
you must have a red for charm person.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Do you see that okay?
Yes.
That's distinct enough. Okay. So definitely I think we should just expand on those two things for sure for this.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is we need to like kind of go back to this and finalize how it works, both in general and for each specific one, because we used spells as baselines, but they don't work exactly how the spells work. Because like alter self, you specifically alter it in certain ways, but we want this to be like a funny like here's a shot of this and you drink it and 2 minutes later like a random effect occurs.
So we need stats for that.
Yeah, so we'll need both individual stats for the individual types of drinks and then a generic a framework for how these drinks work.
Okay, yeah, I underlined the alcohol part of this as knowing that we needed stats for it, but I'll just like that other note just means that that's the breakdown of it. You know what I mean?
Because I think we could create stats for each individual style of drink.
Yeah.
And then we could create stats for whether that is placed in a wine or a beer or a shot or a mixed drink or something.
Yeah.
So that people can play around with how they want that. Like if they're like, "Oh, I like that one. I want to put that one in a shot glass for my players." Or if I want a wine skin of this one, then they can mix and match it with whatever fits.
Nice. You know what? That makes me feel a little bit better. I'm like, oh, how many did we not get out, necessarily? But there's only 4.
No, yeah, we did pretty good.
That's not awful. That's not as bad as I thought it might have been.
No, we had a good run. And I did do that post that people voted on, like, would you rather have us pause for a while and get you the PDFs, or do you want us to get through the last 12 and then focus on what we're doing right now? And they did agree to either focus on what we're doing now or do what feels right, regardless. So here we are. Instead of instead of working on number 9 right now, we've gotten through them and we're now revealing some of the stuff about them.
Yeah, definitely. I think for the alcohol one, I think that might be everything that we'd really need. You know what I mean? Like doing the distillers and the farming process and everything.
Yeah, we don't need
that's gonna lead into a little bit of organization stuff anyway. So
yeah, we don't need like stat blocks for the people because
no.
I mean that's like putting stat blocks for every merchant you find. Like you don't want to do that.
That might just I think the only one we need, as we mentioned, was the ambassador. I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah, that one guy. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
And if anything else, maybe if we come up with a couple other ideas that we think of, like, oh, we should use this spell and add that one to the list, we can do that.
Yeah. All right. Next one was a location, and I know that it was just an island. We didn't have a name, right?
No, this is a wacky place.
Yeah.
This is a very Gamma World adjacent location.
True that.
This is an island where I guess magic alchemists, magicians were kind of just either sent or sent themselves to like get away with experiments they couldn't other places. And then something happened, and now it's just an island of weird stuff that happens because the weird magic experiment island blew up.
Yeah. I would say, okay, for this, let's expand upon. Do you want to expand upon the group or no? For this one.
No, I think the group should be like mysterious, like mysterious one group, maybe multiple groups. That's the kind of thing where it's not necessarily important, so we can leave room for who specifically they were for people to use if they want to.
Okay.
I think it's more important to expand on this island mechanically.
Okay.
Because we came up with all kinds of narrative things.
Yeah.
That could use some mechanics. Like there's hazards in here. We could come up with some trap / hazard stat blocks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So
monster stat blocks. That kind of thing.
Well, we did do a list of
stuff.
Yeah, so here I'm gonna put this under.
Like we have mongoose people. We have the mutant kangaroos that they wrestle.
Oh.
and also ride into battle.
Oh my gosh. Okay, mongoose. What was it again? Mongoose people?
Yeah. And as a rite of passage,
we have to do stats for them, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a few stat blocks for them. We're also gonna.
Are they considered an enemy or like a monster, or should I do NPC?
I mean, it'd be a monster stat block, but they could, like, you can make an NPC out of one of them.
Okay, mongoose people.
The mutant kangaroos that they both wrestle as a rite of passage to adulthood and also ride into battle.
Yes.
Because we decided they needed to wrestle mutant kangaroos as a rite of passage, which makes them both an adult and gives them their lifelong animal companion.
Yeah.
/ battle mount.
Jackrabbits. Oh my god, that's so.
Yeah. We also had giant crayfish / hermit crabs that used socks as shelter because occasionally it decided to rain socks.
What was it? Crayfish /
or snow socks? I don't. This was a weird episode. It was giant.
Giant crayfish use socks as shelter.
Yeah, like hermit crabs.
Socks get recycled back to the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Crab. Okay.
We had radioactive elementals. Basically uranium elementals.
Hell yeah.
We had alcoholic pineapple. No, I'm sorry.
Wait, what?
I'm reading this wrong. It's alcoholic fog. That would be a hazard for sure. And pineapple snow. It just
so messed up. Didn't we have root beer rain?
Yeah, we had the rain was root beer. There's also grass is purple instead of green here.
But that's not here. You know what? The root beer rain too. That's not anything that needs a stat block, right?
No, that's just info. We had the weird
fish, right?
We had the weird blue mandrake potatoes that like. Oh yeah, Jesus Christ! What? Look at I feel like we were on drugs this day.
Oh my god.
If the blue potato is not harvested while a potato, then it becomes a potato hedgehog, a potahog.
A potato.
They lay potato babies.
They lay potato babies. They hatch. That's right. You better watch yourself. I have cockatrice fish too.
Yeah,
And
there's
they're in an inlet where they live, and if it's low tide, there are tops of statues that used to be people covered in algae, seaweed, etc. Like just chilling.
that in and of itself is a creepy location.
Yeah, legit. Oh my god.
And don't forget the fig trees that buzz, because the wasps that pollinate them zombify instead of just dying. And when the fruit
Are we putting
drops,
that as a threat / something that needs a stat?
Yeah, definitely. Swarm of zombie wasps. Swarm of zombie wasps will definitely need a stat block.
Okay. I think that's all the monsters we have.
So basically, this needs a lot of monster and hazard stat blocks.
Yeah, Jesus.
Oh and maybe is a couple item stat blocks for like, what if you kill it? Bless you?
Yeah, sorry. That was a
nonpartisan. Some item stat blocks for like, what if you eat the figs, or drink the root beer rain, or that kind of thing. Maybe we come up with a couple item stat blocks for that. You know, if you want to bottle the root beer rain and sell it, like, does it have any weird side effects?
Drink the rain, or what was the other one?
Like, oh, what if you eat the potatoes? Or eat the figs that used to be zombified. That kind of thing.
Got it. Oh god.
Yeah. Oh. You're
Alright, so the 11th one was a monster, also not named, correct?
Correct, I believe. Oh, yeah, this was a monster that kind of turned into many monsters and a place.
Yeah. This is a little ridiculous.
This was like a time lost multi-dimensional graveyard thing.
Yeah, what did we... I think the nomadic people were the biggest part of this, right?
Yeah, the origin for the location was that a group of multi-planar nomads used this, like, pocket dimension as a graveyard. So, like, this location is a graveyard and necropolis for whoever these people were.
Okay, so I'm gonna say necrotic nomad people. We good with that?
I wouldn't say necrotic, because like they weren't necrotic. I'll
just say nomadic people then.
Yeah, multiplanar.
Okay.
or planar nomads, like they traveled the plains.
Okay. But they definitely need some stats, don't they? Is there our main monster in this?
I don't think they were, but I think we could make like a specific ghost for them, because technically they're not alive anymore. Like, maybe their ghosts are unique with unique powers.
Okay, here, you know what, I'll do that.
But we had a bunch of creatures that came into being as this place, like, kind of became overgrown with wildlife.
Okay. So then, oh god, we have a bunch of dire stuff.
Yeah, we have dire pandas.
Okay, let's just underline the list. Dire pandas.
More pineapples. They eat pineapple.
Really?
Yeah, they eat pineapples instead of bamboo.
Oh, okay, but that's nothing that needs a stat.
No.
Okay.
We have dire flamingos that are indigo, not pink.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. The flamingo. See, we definitely went with like a location backbone for this because the flamingos, um, um, yeah, they eat the things from the hot springs,
Oh, that's
and
right. Yeah, yeah,
those
yeah.
and because those hot springs are are essentially have bubbled up and are a natural formation around this massive grave site, they kind of magically leech knowledge from what they eat, and the older the flamingo, the more knowledge it gains. And the flamingo kind of talks like a parrot in cryptic, knowledgeable riddles that it doesn't understand what it's saying.
Oh god.
They also have psychic abilities, like
Yes, yeah, I remember that too about
to
them.
protect themselves.
Those riddle spewing bastards.
Yeah, we made dire psychic flamingos that speak in riddles
Because why not?
because that's what we do.
I have earth elementals as well.
Yes, because that was part of it. The runic marble. That is one of the reasons that they came to this place.
Yeah.
Um,
I also see on here undead, but I feel like undead.
we have general undead in the graveyards, but we also said that part of this pocket dimension was a mastodon graveyard.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
And we need spectral mastodons that have terrible, terrible charging abilities.
Okay. Yeah, because I think the undead we were talking about how they were similar to the Vistani in Strahd.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones who know how to get there and back, and
right, like
this. They were the nomadic people.
Yeah, they would be like similar to the Vistani when they were alive, but
yeah,
now they dead. And we said that like the mastodons would have an ability where they trumpet their noses, their trunks, and summon forth other specters.
Yeah.
Like this is just like a very pretty place that turns out to be a weird, monstrous wonderland. As you're trying to collect treasure from.
I feel like with this one, we actually determined that just from the notes at the top, I think the dire pandas and the dire flamingos are the main monster of this.
Yeah, they were the backbone of it.
Okay, I'm gonna actually take this.
But we kind of went everywhere.
Yeah, I know. That's what we do. Okay.
So I guess, obviously we need the stat blocks for all these creatures we talked about. Yeah. But I guess we also need a location description. Like a full location breakdown of this place as well.
Yeah. So actually this should be,
because pretty much almost everything is based on the fact that this place is how it is.
Right.
Even the flamingos.
Oh, I thought. Okay, listen.
Description.
I know. I don't want it underlined. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, is that good enough for that one, I guess?
Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet. All right, last one.
Okay.
This one also needs names, right?
Yes. Yes. This was the one we did on. We were calling him the Clockmaker.
That's right. Oh, I loved him.
This was one we did the the stream on.
Yeah.
Which I still have to get up on the YouTubes.
Sorry, it's one work. And we need stats for him, don't we?
I don't know if we want stats for him. I feel like we want stats for stuff related to him, but I feel like he's almost...
My thinking is that we would want stats for him because undoubtedly there will be somebody in the party who comes across him and is just like, okay, well, he's the cause of all of this. I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, so I guess we would need stats for the form he takes when he talks to people.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's an entity. He's not just an individual, so...
Right. I just picked, like, no offense to him, and if you're listening, thank you, but also I'm sorry, Jack, but, like, Jack's characters most of the time, if they're, like, the fighter type, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That could happen. They might just try
I know how we can take care of this. With a sword. Yeah.
Like, oh, do you? Was that a good plan?
So yeah, I guess we'll need, what would we? It's like essentially a stat block for his avatar, and I guess the clockmaker would be the avatar this entity takes when talking to people. So the clockmaker is just like one of his names.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think we determined already anyway, like, it's just...
Yeah, I think the other big thing we need for him, is like an example, encounter, side quest, mini adventure thing. Like, hey, like, this is what you, like, this is the type of thing that the group would have to do. Like, if they decide to buy one of those cogs that the man on the side of the road is selling and they go throw it in and talk to the clockmaker and accept his, you know, his challenge wish trade, this is one of the example things that they would have to do. And here's how you run it.
Okay.
Which means we'll have to come up with some. We'll have to expand on, like, maybe maybe we even do two. Maybe we expand on, like, the pick as many kumquats as you can in an hour and turn it into a combination combat / mini game, like,
yeah.
with a scoring system, as well as, like, how many flapjacks can you make. It essentially, I guess we'll have to.
I just want to look. I can't even remember what we had. What is it? Okay.
It'll have to be like we'll have to come up with a framework for creating a combat that is also a, like, high score mini game, so that the higher you score, the more, as we discussed, the more accurate your wish is with the least negative side effects.
Yes. Oh god. No pressure. Oh, I hit that by accident. Sorry. All right.
And
I feel like that's...
Yeah, like, so...
Didn't he have somebody else with him?
Yeah, what did we call him? The Moon Sherpa? Yeah, because we said that he, like, his challenges occurred, like, on the moon. So, like, when you accepted this, you got ported to the moon, you met up with this guy who owes the clockmaker a debt for whatever, and he leads you to the challenge and explains things to you and just kind of nonchalantly, uncaringly watches you make fools of yourself or die.
Yeah, I feel like we should, and I'm gonna put it on here, and we can always change it later, but he should also have stats. Same reason.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, he should seem like someone with, like, a 1 CR stat block, but in reality has, like, a high stat block.
Yeah.
But he's just doing his job and doesn't care and, like, isn't gonna help you, isn't gonna attack you. He's just like, yep, this is where we're going. But if you attack him, he could, like, if you're not a high level, he could wipe the floor with you.
Yeah. Oh wait, nope.
Is that a remote control car?
Yeah, I think so. And Pat was wondering if he made food, if it would be on here. I was like, babe, yes. Like, we can hear things outside when the windows are closed. Like, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty good right there. Unless you wanted to do something with like his reason for being or anything at all.
No, I like him being mysterious.
Yeah.
Like I like him being like a Lovecraft level, maybe God question mark
Yeah.
type being.
Awesome. Yeah, I do too.
Cool. So yeah, that's actually a really good start.
Yeah, for sure.
I think for next time we should talk about like initial draft of how the whole document will be laid out, like what's like
here, you know what, hold on,
like what chapters we're gonna have.
Oh my god, stop.
I can see you getting tangled up in your own typing. So like we don't need to talk about like what specifically goes in them, but like we can, looking at what we went over today, we can be like, okay, we need a chapter that's monster stat blocks, we need a chapter that's items, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And then I think we can also start talking about some of these expanded info that we need to make. And I think you and I between streams will have to pick out which ones we want to focus on.
Okay.
Because I think almost all of these have some form of expanded info we need to talk about and build out.
For these, we're just gonna do all of that just to make sure that I'm on the same page as you. You're talking about starting to talk about the expanded information, like, oh hey, for example, the milk and honey curios, we need monster stats, like starting to do that via live stream, correct?
Yeah, so like we can talk about like, okay, which specific people need stats and like what are going to be like, not necessarily the mechanics themselves, but like what powers are they going to have, like what CR do we want to make them, like what what kind of challenge do we want to make them, like what the specifics that we need to like actually talk about. And like for like, I don't know, like the Clockmaker, we can start developing a side quest, or like the Terex Hive, we can actually determine the specifics to what a nest would be laid out like. That kind of thing.
All right, cool. Yeah. So this is for next time, sir.
Yes. So
all right.
A month from now, give or take.
Excellent. I think that's gonna wrap up this episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We don't have any updates as of right now, at least not that I'm aware of. Did you
have anything? No. There's a bunch of stuff getting worked on that will hopefully be done by the time non-live viewers are listening or watching this.
Yay.
So yeah.
All right. So that wraps up this episode of the Untamed Forge, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to creating with you all again next time.
Yeah, and hopefully we have a lot more updates for you next time as well.
Yeah. Have a good one, all.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.